Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, good evening, or good day, or wherever you are around the world. Welcome. It's really hot here in West Sussex. The sun's out, not quite as bright and as hot as yesterday, but still too hot to do too much. So, in my little well and truly insulated workshop, I'm quite happy. And see what we've got in the lurking in the background. Let's bring in my wood maggot for the day. And I'm not sure whether Andy's quite as cool as what I am because he hasn't got quite so much insulation in the roof. And I
No, I
know
carry
it's
mine all with me. Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit of a sauna. Welcome, Andy. Thank you very much
Hello
for
there.
joining me. So
You're
um,
welcome.
let's drop Andy back in the background for the time being.
Yeah, that'll be a relief
And
to all concerned. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I got fed up with looking at you, mate. So, so what are we doing today? I'm going to sort of follow on from what we did last week. A lot of comments, a lot of positive comments on the hollow form vase that I did. I eventually got it up onto the tubes, a picture of the finished article. I was quite pleased with it. It was about 5 to 6 mil wall, uniform all the way down. Yeah, quite impressed with myself as it was the biggest and deepest hollow form of small or thin wall that I'd done. I mean, the previous was I turned a cremation urn. That didn't need to be too thin, didn't need to be too delicate or whatever. Quite happy with that. So this week we're going on to, let's not make you seasick, but this is the easiest way of doing it. This baby. Where's my tape gone? To give you some indication of size. It sits at 8 inches and the maximum across the end is 6 inches. And that drops down to about 4.5, which is in the monster jaws that I've got at the moment. So I've done that in preparation because the end wasn't cut square, it was cut at a piece, so I had to keep chopping it off and keep moving it. I thought, well, you don't want to see that. You've come on here to see a bit of turning of calibre, hopefully, rather than me just making it fit in the jaws. So it's in the jaws. It was in there last night. What I will do is just put the tool, the key on, just to make sure it hasn't moved, and it hadn't. So it's it's very knobbly. The bit that's just coming over, you can see, is almost touching the tool rest. It's about the best I can light it up for you without bleaching you out. But once I start turning this, so that's just touching the tool rest, and then we disappear, and across there now there's 1.5 inches. So I'm going to start turning this knobble off, find some glasses, tuck myself in so everything's safe, tuck my belt in. So glasses on. I've got the room extractor on. I'll put the dust extractor on, which I don't think you can hear. I'm pretty sure you can't. If you can, tough. I'm going to run it. So we're going in with spindle roughing gouge to see how it works. If it's a bit chunky, yeah, so if it's a bit clumpy, what I'll do is I'll go to the spindle gouge, bowl gouge. So we've got several different bits to our kit today. So we'll start it up fairly slow, run it through the wobble. That didn't take much to get over the wobble. And run it up to about 250, 300. That might be nearer 450 now, but I'm okay with that. So I'm going to start mullering this apart, and while I do that, Andy's going to go through the list with any luck. So it's handle down, lift the tool, and cut. just nibbling it away. Over to you, Andy.
Right, okay. And the participants, first one I've seen is Linnykins, and she said that is a knobbly bit. So right, here we go then. Participants, Alison Heath, I know her from somewhere.
Yeah.
Chris Dodds, Circular Wood by Keith, I know him from somewhere. Doug Miller, Douglas Mungham, Flex Wood Turning, Gerard French Turner, Ian Leonard, Jay's Cabin, Lawrence Begasia, Richard RJK Spinningwood. Hello, it's just jumped. I've lost it now. He's gone. Wow. Well, Richard's gone. He's disappeared from my screen. Robert Robertson.
Scared him off.
Sid's Repurposing. Sidley 61. Oh, Steve, it's jumping back again. Paul Heighton's come in. Sid's Repurposing. Sidley 61. Steve Ellis. Steve Scott. Terry Bartlett. Wood Wizardry by Colin and Woodworm Paul. That's just the ones who are in the participants list. If I've missed anybody, I do apologise. Give me a shout and I'll announce you. Just having a quick glance down the chat in YouTube, but nobody's springing to mind. So there we are.
Welcome, everybody. You can't see a lot at the moment. I'm covering the camera and covering me. I think not too bad. I'll have to turn that one off in a minute. I'll have to rely on my eyes today to tell me whether it's bleached out or it's okay. I'm hiding under the monitor at the moment, so I can't easily see it. But that burr section's cutting quite well. It's beginning to look sort of round.
Oh, Richard RJK Spinningwood said he is here. He's still here. So we're pleased to hear that, Richard. Andrew Wivy Woodshed's in.
Hi, Andrew. Well,
Christine and Michael Heseltine.
Hello, Christine and Michael. If you can
David.
see this as it comes round, just a second, Andy. There's
Yeah,
burr through that knot, that knobbly bit. That's solid burr. That is solid burr. It's a bit too close. That's burr, and there's a little bit of burr along the top there. So it's going to be an interesting decorative piece when it gets finished. Hopefully that burr goes in deep enough to show. Sorry, mate, carry on.
That's right. No, David Nichol was the only other one who's appeared since I read down that list, I think. So there we are. We're all complete.
We're all complete. Jolly good.
It's looking promising, isn't it, that piece of timber? Looking as though it could have some interest.
So if you don't feel confident with a spindle roughing gouge on something as knobbly and as big as this, use a spindle gouge, bowl gouge. Don't use a spindle gouge, it's not got enough strength. Although we're in spindle mode.
Douglas Mungham has leapt in with his first question, which is the roughing gouge strong enough to take the thumping?
Yeah,
I think
because
you sort of answer that.
if you start with the handle down, not cutting, you can't really see much on that shot, but with the handle right down at 45 degrees to the wood, it's not cutting. As I lift the handle, I can engage the cut, and that's one-handed. It is quite a controlled cut. It's sharp. It's just come off of the CBN wheel, so it's nice and sharp. So many would go in dead square as a scrape. That's when the issues start. This is a fairly heavy tanged. You can see it on that one. This is a fairly heavy tanged It's 1.5 inches. It's a big baby.
Just down a bit. That's it.
Yeah, it's a big baby. It is fairly good. It's right in. Occasionally, I just drop it on its handle to make sure it hasn't moved, because wood and into metal sometimes moves. So it's handled well down, and it's a safe cut. I'm not taking big lumps off because I can actually see through the wood. I can get looking over the top. I've got the ghost effect of the timber, so there's nearly 1 inch to come off before it even gets anywhere near solid. But that's cutting a dream.
Yeah, Robbo Robertson's comment is they still snap at the tang.
Yeah, they still snap at the tang, but you've got to be got that bit in the mouth. You've got to be really heavy-handed, ham-fisted, and be taking a massive cut for that to happen.
As Robbo says, the newer designs are better. So
yes.
And Ruby Claire is in, by the way.
Hello, Ruby. Thank you for coming over. Right, let's stop and see what we've got. I've got a mouthful of shavings.
If nothing else.
Yeah. So it looks like we're going to have a breakthrough on the vessel in one place only. I'm going a little bit closer. Be nice to get a little bit below this. There's that branch there is an old branch that's well and truly healed over a bit, so it's well and truly fun piece of wood. But, I think it'll look stunning when it's
going to look. Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I can see the colour better than you guys. Although if I stand back from the monitor, it's actually not bad colour.
Mark, the gentleman wood turner, has just come in.
Hello, Mark. Sorry I didn't see much of yours last night, mate. I was had a video call that I had to participate in. I know it's a bit high tech for me, but I did. Right, let's have a design and see what we're going to do. I think that the top is going to be fatter than the bottom.
I know that problem.
Yeah. So that will remove part of that, which I'm not too worried about. But if I remove too much of the top, I'm not sure how far this burr goes in. Theoretically, it goes into the centre, because all the burr, all the little pips around there, there's a row of pips there and there's a row of pips there. It should all come from the centre. So what I'm going to do now is swap from the spindle roughing gouge to a bowl gouge. American 3/4, English 1/2 inch. Let's put a little bit of shape into it now. Crank up the volume a bit. It's about 750, 800. Don't have a readout on this one. My left hand is literally holding the chisel down, stopping it bouncing. It's not doing any pushing. The driving is being done by the bevel, riding against the wood.
Copper hour wood turning is in. I think that's Rob, isn't it? If I remember rightly.
So let the chisel do the work. Change hands. I won't cover myself then. It's skating on the end grain of the burr, just there. Right, that is the shape that I'm looking for. A little bit more of refinement, but
It's nice.
Going to be a little bit deeper than what that is, but that just gives me a little bit of strength on the bottom.
32 in at the moment.
Welcome, guys. Right, let's run a drill through this then. And if I can get this out. That's it, popped out. Same as last week, I've got a Morse taper drill. It's a 3/4, or somewhere about that size, and I need to go in just about to the end of the flutes, in depth. So make sure it's in, which it is. Drop the speed back. Don't want too much speed, but you want enough. Hopefully it hits centre. Advance it slowly until it's actually centred itself. Centering itself isn't too critical because we're going to be hollowing this out.
Question from Douglas Mungham. Keith, what is the ratio on this type of vase, top to bottom, so it does not get top heavy and fall over, please?
Basically a third down the fat point with 2/3 at the bottom, and the diameter I tend to go try and make the fattest part twice as wide as the top and bottom, but it all depends on A, the height of it, B, how the wood's going to play ball, if it's going to play ball. There isn't a specific ratio between the fat and the thin part. It's what's pleasing to the eye. I'm going to try and bring the top in a bit more, and I'm going to try and take the bottom in a bit more. But I need the stability in the bottom to start with, so watch this space.
Yep. I just got to pop and get myself a drink of water, Keith. Don't be tick.
While he's gone, everybody drinks gin. You don't have to believe what he tells you. So with a twist bit, you can actually drill it fairly quick. Designed for drilling metal, so wood isn't too much of an issue for it. Sorry about the squealing.
Right, I'm back.
I told you Johnny got his gin.
Alison was pouring it for me by the time I got in there. Bless her.
So the drill's grabbed, and it's a Morse taper.
Oh dear. It's come loose, is it?
Done that. Yeah, I'm glad it's done that, because there's 2 or 3 different ways of getting it out. But the method that I've previously used is to drop the speed right down, a pair of water pump pliers on it.
Yep.
And comes out like that. Just holding round, not on anything that's of any value. It's actually gripping on what is the dimension, but I can't read it without my glasses on. Yeah. So that's quite warm, so don't grab hold of that bit. Let's put those back.
It is a slight risk with the Morse taper drills, isn't it? And,
yeah.
And the Jacobs chuck to come to that.
Yes. Yeah. Let's get rid of that light. So you've seen the worst that can happen. It gets stuck. And you've seen a method that I use for removing it. So
Tommy's workshop is in. Hello, Tommy.
Hi guys. Thank you all for coming over. I'm probably going to need to adjust a camera in a minute as well. Get this sort of set up first, and we can go through the cameras that we've got. That one's not going to show you much. Wake up the mouse.
Chris Dodds said multitasking. Good one, Mark. See, men can do it. And Ruby says not all men, Chris. Some have trouble single tasking. We won't get into that argument.
Right, I think that's going to be the best view. And we're going with the same. God, I've got an ear full of shavings. That's better. We're going with the Same as we did last week, Simon Hope, the little 6mm hollower. What's that picture look like? Is that okay? Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, sorry, that's fine. Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
Spot
wake
on.
up.
Yeah. So I was reading the chat, seeing if I've missed anything.
You missed us all talking about the gin you were going in for. I'm
no
going to be turning in reverse as well. Now I have got this chuck locked onto the shaft, so it can't come off unless two M4 bolts shear. So head at about 45 degrees. And the reason I like doing this is I can actually see what I'm doing. And it's a lot more comfortable for me than leaning across the lathe.
So I did miss a question from Douglas Mungham asking you if Morse taper bits are better than Jacob's chuck.
They've all got their own personal bits and pieces. I mean,
sorry.
The thing I would say is all Morse taper bits are engineers' bits. So if you've got a good Morse taper, clean Morse taper on your headstock, and the drill is a good clean Morse taper, that should lock in because you're under pressure. As soon as you relieve the pressure to take it out is when the problems arise, as we found out just now. So as far as is one safer than the other, is one better than the other, it's all down to personal preference.
And also availability, as Ruby says, she says, Douglas, I prefer Morse taper bits if you can find them. And that can be a problem sometimes.
Right, I'm going to make an adjustment to the tool, I think.
Oh, Tom Copus has come in, said hello
Tom.
Hope you're well. I'm in college as ever.
Yeah, you keep up with your learning, mate. Don't worry about us out here slaving away. Right. What I'm going to do, I normally have the grub screws that hold the cutter on the top, and I've got to. Okay, didn't realise that there was a flat on it. So one of them is getting very close to the side of the hole. It slightly protrudes. I was going to tuck it underneath, but can't do that, so keep playing. Stop and get rid of the shavings. Same as last week, hand over, air pressure in. I've turned the gun down to about 50 psi instead of the normal 90, so it doesn't end up giving me a mouthful. And with the hand over, you can actually save a lot of the dust flying around the workshop.
Been going just half an hour.
Sorry?
Been going just half an hour.
stop and shift the shavings again.
Question from Gerard. If your lathe doesn't have reverse, sad face, can you still do it the other way?
Oh yeah, yeah. It just means that rather than me hugging the handle, you can't see it, and I'm not going to change the camera. But rather than me hugging the handle is pushed further away from you. So I've got the length of my arm, and that can bounce around if you're not careful. If you can swing the headstock, I would swing it further, and I would turn on the left-hand side clockwise. But as I don't need to, as I can turn it or adjust mine so that it fits anywhere, it's easier for me to rest the tool up against my veer belly, and it digs in quite well, so it sinks there quite well, and it takes the bounce out. What I can do now that I've got down a bit further is just drop the tool rest a fraction.
Eric Winkler is in. Hello, Eric.
Hello, Eric. Right. So let's see what we can do now. So the head is at 45 degrees-ish to take some of the aggression out of the cut. With such a small opening, you need to clear it on a regular basis. If you've got a big enough hole that you can get a Hoover tube in, sometimes the better way of doing it. I'm down that far at the moment, or I'm a bit further, but that far I'm sort of happy with, and there the wall is about 10 mil, so still a bit thinner to go yet, but I need to try and finish the top, or get the top to a sort of finished thickness while I've got the meat in the bottom. Okay, go on.
Yeah, Gerald says unfortunately he's got no reverse and the headstock is fit. He's a bit stuffed really, have to save his pennies for a new lathe. But he also goes on... Sorry.
Yeah, you can take the headstock, tailstock off and work down the lathe. It's a bit like the, is it Australian or American stubby lathes, where there are several, or there were several videos of the headstock, the tailstock being removed, a wad of material sat on the lathe, and the turner sitting astride the lathe.
Interesting. And then Gerard's got another question. Says, could you use the curved bit on this tool? Would it be easier to do the top part under the rim?
It will be. It will be.
But you have to go back to doing that, going the normal way, don't you?
Yes, you have to do that in the correct way. And I don't want to change the, I will have to put the tool rest up a fraction.
Robbo Robertson says Australian stubby.
Yep. Right,
I
this
thought that
is
was
just
a big
straightforward straight scraper or a round scraper. So you need, this cuts better in trailing mode. You just need to be a little bit careful. This is a scraper as against the Simon Hope cutter. So what this will do, this will get rid of the ridges down the side.
David Nichols' been looking at lathes, hoping to upgrade. The one he's been looking at has reversed, but they no longer have a swivel headstock. It slides to the end. Is this as useful as swiveling? In my opinion, no, it's not. But
no. I mean, really, the swivel means that you can work anywhere along it at any degree that you want to work along it. If you slide it to the end, you've then got to bolt on or add on another tool holder, banjo, I thought most of those were almost extinct now.
Robbo Robertson says yes, David. In other words, that it is as useful as swiveling, but I would argue that.
Yeah, I've had most of my turning life one that swivels.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If the king from down under says it's good.
Absolutely. Who am I to argue? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Rob CP is in.
Hello, Rob. I will get round to watching your delicate operations that you've performed. Been a little bit tied up over the past few days.
Yeah, David Nichols says that the one he's looking at has a lowered bed extension that the tool rest sits on. I've got the Axminster 406, which has exactly that facility. I still use the swiveling headstock in preference. And Steve Scott's hit the nail on the head. You just need room at the end of the lathe. I haven't got room at the end of the lathe. My bandsaw is there. So that does answer one of the questions.
Mm.
Yeah, Robbo's defending himself quite rightly and says, sorry, gents, I disagree. You don't slide right to the end. You leave enough for the banjo on the bed and stand at the end. That's great if you can do that. My workshop is so small that I can't. But in principle, yes, I agree.
Yep. Baby's fighting me a bit.
Oh, dear.
At the moment, we can fix that. We can fix that. Bear with me while I remove a handle from something else. I've got the Simon Hope killer handle. The only problem is I need to go next door to stand to hold it.
So the 5 meter handle, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm taking off a little 12-inch handle and putting on a 24-inch handle, as it was bouncing so much. It's not quite the right size for that. One's a 16 and one's a 19, but see how it works. I think it's tap deep enough. that the grub screws are long enough. They will hold it. Not going silly with them. Right, let's have a play with this baby then. Yeah, just about enough room in the workshop. But it does give me a lot more control over the bounce. It's grabbing quite a bit.
Yeah, Chris Dodd says open the door and stand outside. Yeah, door's the wrong end, unfortunately.
Wrong end. How deep are we? We're that deep. We're 2/3 down. The other thing I have done, I said the grub screws to hold the tip in, unfortunately, are at the top. But I've also lined up the 3 in the handle, so they're on the top, so I know exactly where the angle of the cutter is by using these 3 as a guide. So I'm cutting at about 30 to 45 degrees. So it's not such a grabby cut. I think I'm going to increase the volume a bit. Let's see if that will stop it chattering. What it means is the wood's going over quicker. Finding the centre hole I drilled and just making it marginally bigger. So the handles fell apart. Forgot they give you a key that squeezes up the end of the handle. Obviously, it's not a good fit because it's just rattled out. Give it another blowout. The other thing you've got to be aware of using long tools is that an inch movement on the handle through a fulcrum pivot point can mean quite a lot of movement down the further end. So if you're only moving the handle an inch or a couple of inches, it's surprising how much the tip will move. And the other thing on something this long and big, I'm right on top. Can't quite see it on that camera. Not that one, it's this one. I'm right above the tool post. So I've got maximum strength and maximum rigidity in the tool through doing that. This is the boring bit, guys, but that's what it is. It's wood boring.
Right, Ruby's come up with a comment, which is, Keith, if your lathe wasn't against the wall and didn't have reverse, you could stand on the other side of the lathe.
Yep.
Definite possibility. Robbo Roberts says, ladies and gentlemen, I have an apology to make. Last week I stated that I had 6 lathes in the main workshop. I was wrong. There are 9. Laugh out loud.
The problem, Ruby, is that you're looking at American workshops, Canadian workshops, which are a lot bigger than most UK workshops. Is that overpoweringly loud, or is it just affecting
No, it's
me?
okay. No, we can still hear you.
Okay.
So a bit louder, please. Yeah.
It's not too bad. As far as I can get my digit down, it's still a bit thicker than what I'd really like, but getting there. I don't really want it to break through at the top. You can generally tell when you've got to build up of shavings because the tool wants to grab a bit. And we've just broken through.
Oh yeah.
Broken through there.
See the shavings coming out now. Yeah.
So I know that's about the right depth. Right. Bear with me, guys. I'm just going to grab a mouthful of water. How do you smooth out the inside to be really nice and smooth? Well, I'm just about to show you that, Eric. It won't be nice and smooth, but it will be smoothish. We're going back to one of the tools I've used already. Not sure whether I can extend anything out of that handle, but we're going on to just a round carbide, cheapy carbide scraper, and we're going to run that down. Now I'm in forward now. Be careful getting it through the hole. Tool rest has got to come up just a fraction because it's a smaller tool. It's trailing at about 45 degrees or between 5 and 10 to on the clock face, so it's not too aggressive. I and feel I've got a lump just there. As this is a bigger cutter than the little 6mm, you can feel better. Careful as it comes out. Stop the lathe. Deshaving it. See how much we've got in there now. Quite a bit. I don't want to blow it all through the air, so I do it the original method. Put the hole at the bottom and hand over it. Yes, I've still got a little ridge just there where there's a knot. I can feel it with my finger, and my finger's right inside. So I'm right on that knot there on the top of it. I've also got a shake open up just there. The camera's going to pick it up. Just a little bit of a... No, it's a little bit of a shake. Nothing to be concerned about. It actually goes from the centre of this down past the other finger, so between my two fingers. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Is that famous last words?
Yeah, probably.
That, I think, is getting fairly close to that inclusion. I can hear the noise changing. It's not a big yes, it's just broken through there. So that's how close I am there. Before I go any further, I've just got a little bit just underneath the rim. See if I can get rid of that while there's still as much strength as possible.
Ruby's saying that a steady rest would help if you have one.
Don't have one. It's only 8 inches, so it shouldn't be too bad. Famous last words. Well, I'm down as far as I can get there, so I think we're going back onto the biggie. Let's see if I can get down. Yeah, just about. Reverse. Set at 45 degrees. I'm at the bottom of the hole I drilled.
Rob CP is asking, what do the experienced turners think of hollowing with the camera setup for beginners?
I don't have the camera set up. I have the laser, and that is quite good. Biggest problem I have, as I am now, is that it gets in the way. All the camera gantry gets in the way. It is quite a tall beast.
A word from Robbo
Go on.
to say trim the end before it gets too unstable.
Yeah, there's still quite a bit there, Robbo. I had noticed that. I didn't want to screw the end up, so that's why I left it. I'm down to the full depth now. It's broken through in 2 places, which is what I'd hoped for. See how uniform we are. Well, the bottom is shy of 10. I can see that on the other end. That's the depth down the bottom, and then
I can't see that.
Can't you? Oh, I could just about see it on the camera.
Ah, yeah.
There's about 10 down the bottom. The middle is very thin, which we knew, and around the neck, that's thinner than what I thought it was, but I'm on the angle, so you can't always get a proportionate measurement. So it's about 10 mil, 8 to 10 mil throughout, which is what I was looking at. I didn't want to go berserk on it. We all know we can turn thin. We all know we can turn delicate. But I'm not going to prove it on here and let it go tits up. So now I can just lightly refine the top to please Robbo. So swapped over to a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. Freshly sharpened before I came live.
Sorry, wrong camera, Keith.
Oh, no.
Well, camera in the wrong position. Yep.
Yeah, it's because I moved that one. Sorry, guys. Right, so just trimming up the top.
That's better.
Radius that off a fraction. It's pretty good. I don't think we're doing any more on the top apart from sanding it.
I think Sidley61 is grateful for you putting the camera back because your legs were scaring him.
Oh, God. That's nothing. At least he was paying attention.
Yep.
Underneath all the shavings, what have we got? We've got a second-hand piece of 120. That'll do to start with. Drop the speed down a fraction. Still a bit fast. Now my digits aren't going inside, not while it's spinning. I can Quite happy for them to sit at the opening.
Robbo says he was just glad that you had shorts on. Lol.
Yeah, I give up with Robbo at times. But it's nice to have him in and the camaraderie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which one is that? That shows that one, which isn't a lot of use whatsoever. So we go back to the overhead, which I think is that one, with a slight modification to the, get rid of that picture. I think that's better. I can still see.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Just going to drop the volume a bit and just slide him over a bit. Square him up. Now it's better taking it out of the picture. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm just dying, but not very quietly.
No. I've centered the lathe back up so it's more over the dust extractor now, so that it goes straight down the tube rather than straight up my uter. And through doing that and putting it in reverse, sanding in reverse, the tail of dust, you can see it on the screen, is going straight into the hole. Very little floating around. So that's a bit of 120 on the top.
Steve Hall is in.
It's a fresh name. I don't think I've seen that one before. Welcome, Steve. So just gone 2 o'clock, so it's not too bad.
Benjamin said, at least you weren't wearing lycra shorts. Richard RJK says, thanks, Ben. I really didn't need that image in my head.
They don't make them my size, mate.
And Robbo says they're for special occasions.
You're letting the secrets out, Robbo. You've been warned about that, mate.
Ruby says her shop is not big. It's in her basement. No? She'd like more space, but unfortunately her garage is full of wood and other things.
Yeah, but if you've got 6 lathes, I think you said, Ruby, it's got to be bigger than mine with 2 lathes and wood and things.
Yep. And mine with 1 lathe.
Yeah.
And wood and things,
I can show off a bit and say my other workshop has got 9 lathes in it.
Down at the museum, Yeah,
that's not totally mine. It's a shared workshop, but we've managed to squeeze 9 lathes in there, and they've all got dust extraction to a fashion. They've all got lighting. They've all got a set of tools, and they've also got a decent chuck, an Axminster chuck, so we can swap around various pieces. And they're all, apart from the main pole wood down there, they're all 1/8 thread, so everything down there is universal, which is what we want, because we didn't want to buy a chuck for this one, which is 1¼ thread, a chuck for that one, which is 2-inch thread or whatever. So we've kept it as uniform as we can. There's a little bit of sand in there, but I'm bouncing in through that.
Hello, Brian. Brian at Hartwood Turning is in.
Hello, Brian. You fed up with the horses then? Or is it too hot to mow? You haven't missed a lot, Brian. It's all been internal work. Well, nearly all of it's been internal work. Let's see if I can get that a bit respectable before I move down too far. Get in there. I wonder, what have we got on the baby? 120, that'll do. Still in reverse, so I'm using the top of the sanding disc. And there's quite a big inclusion just there, which I'm sanding, so hopefully that's spinning over it fast enough. I'm not going to round the opening off.
Webfoot Resin and Wood Creations is in.
Who's that? That's
I'm
David.
trying to remember.
Yeah, David. Anyway, you're welcome. Yeah, it looks like it's David. Yeah. So that's got rid of the sand. No, there's just a little bit there.
That's going to be lovely with the finish on, isn't it?
It's going to be gorgeous. Don't forget, guys, if anyone of you is interested in any of the pieces I turn, they are all up for grabs, unless they've gone, for obvious reasons. But let's find a bit of 120. It's a bit of 180, just to get rid of the whiskers there, make it a little bit more respectable.
Gerard's just off.
Thanks for stopping by, Gerard. Hopefully pictures within a couple of days on the tubes on Facebook, so you can see the final outcome.
And Stan Wright says hello, Keith and Andy. So I imagine he's just in.
That name rings a bell. Are you a club member, Stan? I've got a feeling he is, but...
Okay, I'll keep my eye open, see if he can get an answer.
See if he replies, yeah.
Robbo was saying if you use a block behind, it's just gone off the top of the screen. If you use a block behind the paper, it clears the inclusions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he said it again at the bottom. I didn't need to worry.
Stan Wright. Welcome, Stan. Yes, I thought I recognised the name, but nice to see you over here, mate. Hopefully you'll subscribe to my channel, and anyone else is on here. Andy's on here as well on Thursday evening. Hopefully you can make a permanent thing of it. Stan fills in the workshop at times when he can. I'm going to get this wrong, Stan, so don't give me a big bollocking. You're on the ambulance service of sorts, but you're a teacher, if I remember right. You'll put me right anyway. But We do happen to have a couple of AMBO staff. As club members and as Amberley members. Right, now I'm happyish with the shape at the top. I can reduce the bottom to a more respectable shape. It's not quite hold your breath turning, but as soon as I start talking, I end up with shavings down the neck, which isn't good. There's a hard bit there.
Oh, Stan says he's now retired from the ambulance service.
Right. I knew he was due to retire. I wasn't quite sure whether he had totally, but he was one of their top instructors, I believe. Look at that. That's what you like to see. Streamers coming off. Nice delicate streamers.
That's a very good view of your tool there.
Jolly good. I'm concentrating on the tool rather than the picture.
Yes, of course.
Oh yes. Yeah, I can see it if I stand back. I'm right underneath of it, so it's awkward to to see it. All right, have a quick stop. Now the piece is that deep. Oh, it's not quite as deep as I thought it was, so I can actually afford to take this bottom in a bit. Oh, I think I've got a line there, and I was a bit dubious about coming up past that, but I think I can just gently slice a bit more off, just to refine the shape. Now, was it Douglas asked earlier on, what's the difference in size? Is there a formula between fattest part and thinnest part? And now we can refine the shape.
Oh, Terry Hooper's in.
Hello, Terry. One of these days you'll get in here on time, mate. The good thing is you can at least go back and watch it on the tubes as of tomorrow when it's up live.
Yep, he said he's going to do that, and he said you do like holes.
You what? Sorry.
You do like holes, he said.
Oh, it's an imperfection in the wood, and it's working around it. Yeah, anyone can work with a perfect piece of wood, and not too many pieces of wood like this are perfect.
Nick Castle's just come in.
Hello, Nick.
They're all crowding in now, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
They're up to 40 now. So.
Back up to 40.
Back up to 40, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I've got a little bit of a shoulder there, which I'm not going to try and turn out. I'm just going to put the paper across it carefully. There's no weight on the drill. It's literally the weight of the drill. And like I've said many times before, the price of the piece of abrasive you're using is pence. Don't be a tight ass. Put a new piece on.
Sidley 61's got to go. Catch the rest later. Benjamin says my collet chuck came today. Beautiful piece of milling for 60 quid.
Okay.
I think that sounds like the Axminster one, which I've got, and I quite like it for certain things.
I just found mine yesterday.
Small stuff. Yeah, it does have its uses.
Now, am I happy with the finish on that before I go any further? No, I've just got to sand the bottom. It's funny how you think you're good off with the tool, and there's a bit of vibration in there, so I've got a couple of little ridges just down there, but there's a ridge there which is right on a band of knots, and there's another one there on the top of a knot, and there's another one there, so they're right on the hardest part of the wood.
Yeah.
You could go over that 10 times with a chisel and still end up with a little bit of a ridge. So you can go over it once with a bit of 120 paper and get rid of them more or less straight away. That feels a lot better. I've got a little ring there. You see that ring of knots? Just there. I've got a little mark on the soft side. I'm using a 3-inch disc. A lot of people use 2-inch, or they haven't got 3-inch discs. The problem I find with 2-inch on something this size is it can disappear in to the voids unless you're literally flying at warp factor 15. Yeah, there's just a little mark. It's just below that big knot, or just on that big knot there. So, which one are we on? We're on this one. We're not, we're on this one. The beauty of this, I can hold it against me. That's tucked into my belly. I've got one hand on the gearbox and one on the handle. I can hold it like that, very tight and secure, and get a decent purchase on it without having to put any weight on it. I think we can now go over to 240. Let's see what we've got in the way of 240. Need to go through my stock. I'm nearly out of, well, I am out of bits of square 240. Now, me saying just now, don't be tight with the paper. That's a piece of 240 that I've used, and you always pick up round the outside. But there's no reason why you can't fold that in half, and there's a sanding pad. You can get 2 uses out of it, and that's not being tight. It's just using the centre which hasn't been used. Up to 240. Still in reverse so that it's pulling it down the extraction tube. Letting it flick over the surface.
Terry Hooper, probably you can't hear us with that going.
Yeah.
You can, all right. Terry Hooper's asking, the drill Keith is using, is it a drill chuck on an angle grinder?
No, it's a proper angle drill from the good old plumbing days that I bought. It's for drilling between floorboard joists, so you can get right in there. If I'd got a normal drill, I've got the chuck on the end. Wrong way. Got the chuck on the end, so you've got too much length to get that between the joists. That, with the chuck at 90 degrees, will go between the joists with a drill bit in there. So I can drill level holes. All I've done is put a one-handed chuck on there, but it's so old that it's rusted up a bit. Yeah. It's all right, Andy. I could hear something in the background.
That was Alison. She's just showing me that question as if I hadn't dealt with it.
Now, if anyone can afford these drills, they are good. This one's the Hitachi variable speed one. I don't think they make them anymore, which is a big shame. They make the big two-handed one, which is a bit of a beast and a bit too big for what we're doing now.
Yeah, there's one on Amazon in America, but not over here. I know I've looked for them in the past.
It's got a little bit of torn grain around the edge of that knot there. I don't think it's going to get any more sand in than that. I'm happy with the rest of that. Just got a line just there. I don't know about anybody else, but I always find that I think I'm okay on the sanding until I get down to 240, and then all of a sudden I find I've got a sanding mark exposed itself. It's not very deep, but it just picks up the sawdust. So with the angle drill, I'm resting it against my beer belly. There is a use for them. And I've got the hand right up by the chuck gearbox end, so I've got a lot of stability to it. It's nearly gone. I don't know whether the camera will pick it up.
I can't see it, but
no. But you just need to trust me. There is just a little bit of a mark there, or there was just a little bit of a mark there. So I'm happy with that now. What I will do is put the tool rest back in, line it up to do a parting off cut. I'm not going to totally part this off yet, I don't think. Or am I? Might do. Might do. Forward, not too fast. Yeah, there's no reason why I can't part this off. Up at about a 5-degree angle. Concave the base. Drop the volume right down. And at this speed I'm quite happy to put my finger inside just. There's no sharp edges there. Now this one I will finish with lemon oil.
That answers Robbo's question.
Right.
How are you finishing it?
Nearly there. I'm at about 3 mil. I'm not. I'm at -3 now because it's come off. Just loosen this off so that I don't stab myself. Oh. So, with the ugly mug camera, let me just
Prepare yourselves.
wake it up, get rid of some of the dust. I can also now turn that dust extractor off because that's got
Oh, that's
my
better.
nerves.
That misty day suddenly cleared.
Yeah, you don't realise. So there, guys, apart from a coat, which I will give it now, is a hollow form.
It's going to look very different with the coat on it too.
Yes, it will do. So about 4 inches, about 2 inches, and the hole in the top is about 1 1/8 inches, but the actual top 1 1/8 inches, and the top is about 2 1/4 inches. So let's grab some of the lemon medicine and give it a feed. I'll probably do the inside once I get indoors and I've sat down and recovered some breath. But, lemon oil brushed on. I'll do a bit and then hold it up and show you so you can see the difference that the lemon oil makes. It's soaking in quite quickly, so nice and shiny where it's wet, but look at the difference, quite bland.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah,
that is lovely. Yeah,
so that's almost soaked in on that now, so let's carry on round. And all of a sudden a relatively bland piece of wood takes on a different aspect completely.
certainly does.
I don't ever worry about getting this on my hands because it wipes off quite easily.
Benjamin's talking about tummy cam. But moving on.
You can go off people, Ben. You really can. Yeah.
Alison says beautiful. She's talking about me, of course.
No other question there.
Robbo says very nice grain. Stunning, Keith, from Doug Miller. Ian Leonard, very nice, Keith. Good job,
Thank you,
Keith,
guys.
from Terry.
Cheers, guys.
And lots of way it goes all the way up.
Yeah, I'm doing this because this is something I want to pass on to other people that have not tried it, have not seen the way I do it, that have, there's many out there on the tubes that have done different ways, different things. So before you all disappear, next week, and that is a Thursday, if I remember right, because Andy's doing the Tuesday. what are we going to do? Let's come back off belly and leg cam. I have part turned only because they were wet. Some winged vases, pots, call them what you will. They're all three are hawthorn. They're well and truly dried now. Pretty crappy old turning. It's full up with sawdust and spiders' webs. Now there's that one, and then this slightly bigger one, not much deeper. It's going to need work on both sides, and I think by the time we've finished, you can just see the colours around there. Make a stunning piece. There's some quite nice grain through the bottom. Anyone got any preferences? That's crap, leaves and sawdust and spiders' webs. They're about 3/4 of an inch thick at the moment. I haven't remounted them. They've been down the back of the shed for the past 5 or 6 years, so they are sort of dry. This one's so dry that the woodworm have now decided to evacuate, and there's a few holes on there. That's lost its bark. This one still retains all of its bark still at the moment, but is the one you would prefer more than the other? And the third one has got a little bit of bark missing, which is a lot bigger, which is going to be a bit of a pain because the C-jaw opening is not a C-jaw round, it's oval. So, well and truly. So,
can I just stick in a question from David Nicol?
Yep.
Will you put shellac or some other coating over the lemon oil?
I will wood wax 22 to start with, and then probably top it off with microcrystalline. But I'll do that off camera because I want that lemon oil to soak right in. Oh look, there's the bags in the background.
Yeah,
everyone's come to appreciate. So it will end up shiny, but not glossy shiny.
I think your camera's frozen at the moment, Keith.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Well, I'm moving on it.
Not on my computer. You're not. Oh, let's try that. That might do it.
Am I moving?
Nope.
I can see me moving.
No, I've got 3 different positions and it's still not moving.
Okay.
I'll go back to StreamYard and see what that's doing. Yeah, that's moving. It's YouTube.
Right. Well, there's the overhead camera with all 3 bowls in as best I can. Has anyone got any preferences? If not, it'll be the one I choose.
Yeah, no, I don't think. No, nobody's expressed a preference. Robbo's asking who's on tomorrow lunchtime.
Is it Wayne or no? Wayne's doing tomorrow.
No, Wayne's tomorrow evening, isn't he? Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, I've got no idea. It could be Nick the Flaming Turner. Unsure.
Yeah, Doug Miller's coming. It said Nick the Flaming Turner.
Right. Oh yes, that's just popped up on mine. So I can't guarantee, but I think it might be Nick. Andy's on Thursday evening, so we'll hop along and see Andy. Now, don't forget he starts at 7:30, and that could be an hour and a half one because I think we've got Rich doing an invade afterwards.
Yeah, it shouldn't be any longer than that. It's I've got things prepared, so hopefully it won't take too long.
Yeah, but we know what preparing things does, don't we? Sometimes makes it.
It all
Sometimes
goes
makes it
horribly
longer.
wrong.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can't guarantee anything in this.
Yeah,
This
Terry Hooper.
community.
Terry Hooper says do the most difficult one.
Well, there's no difference in difficulty in all of them, to be honest. So let me find me on the camera, which I think is that one.
I'm there,
I know you are.
and you're nearly there.
I've come in to join
There we
you.
are.
I'll swing that round a bit, and I've
Hello.
got something to lean on then. So yeah. So that's me done, guys. Thank you all the 31 that are still watching. If you haven't subscribed and you like what I'm doing, please subscribe and hit the bell. That will let you know when I'm on. Now Andy and I do alternate almost Tuesdays and Thursdays between us just to fill in. Scott does the Thursday evenings when he can, but as he's an Ambo crew, you never quite know. We've got a roster worked out between us, so we know what's going on. It'll be put up on Facebook, and I generally promote myself on the tubes and various different channels. And I think I put Andy up, but I'm not sure. No, not sure about this week's, whether I put you up. I know I did last week for you. But,
Thank you. I haven't worked that one out yet. So
no, we try and promote each other. We're all in it together. You know, we're not. No one's better than the other. No one's worse than the other. Although there's one or two turners that aren't as good and as accomplished as what Andy and myself are, or Wayne. Ruby's well and truly. Thanks, Ruby, for stopping by, and also thanks, Robbo. I think he's disappeared now.
He said he was just going. Yeah,
everyone's escaping. Copper Owl, was that Rob?
Yes.
Yeah, he's off as well. Lawrence is off. Take care. Thanks, guys. Any comments that you've got, you can stick underneath the video when that's posted. Hopefully tomorrow. Depends how quick YouTube are at getting it up. Sometimes it's up before I even finish. Another time it takes 48 hours. But you can never guarantee anything on YouTube at the moment. So, but I appreciate you all being in. I will wax this up once the oil's soaked in and dried. I will then post the pictures on the tubes and Facebook pages for you all to see. But thank you once again, everybody, for joining Andy and me on a lunchtime live.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. You don't have to. You could be sitting out there in the sun. Could be having a beer in the garden. Perhaps one or two of you are having a beer in the garden. But have a good day, all of you, and I'll catch up with you later on week Thursday. I think I am.
I'm trying to remember the date today. 17th. No, it's not.
It's the 15th today. 17th you're on.
17th I'm on. 22nd I'm on. 24th you're on. That's right, which is a Thursday.
Next week Thursday then.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
So week Thursday I'm on. So that's it. Right, I'm going to hit the go button, which goes off anyway now. So thanks, guys. See you all on someone else's, or hopefully see you all on Andy's.